Okay, first thing is some people have reached out asking about making donations to support what we're doing here. Really appreciate it. There's just, the truth is, I'm not being hit as hard as everyone else is, or as most people are during this pandemic. I'm doing okay, so if you're inclined to make a donation, I would much prefer you to find a local charity in your area and support that. If you want to purchase DVDs, guild packages, digital downloads to further your training, it's always appreciated. But as far as donations go, please direct that to your local communities and help out the people who really need it right now. I don't want to be greedy. I just want to see everyone get through this in one piece. Let me check the camera angle real quick. All right, so questions come up a few times. I keep meaning to address it, and I keep forgetting. I want to get to it right off the hand. Left-handed people. When it comes to left-handed people practicing, I try to encourage them as much as possible to train with the knife in their right hand. And the reason why is 90% of the population is right-handed, which means if you're ever in a situation, you are likely going to be facing someone whose knife is on their right side on your left. Which means if the knife is in my left hand and he's attacking me, I'm either going to have to use my weapon hand to block or defend against that, or reach across my body to intercept his knife, and then try and time a counter here. Whereas if the knife's in our right hand, my left hand, just like in boxing, my left hand protects against his right side, so I can block and counter at the same time here. I can preemptively check and hit here. That being said, some practitioners do choose to train with the knife in their left hand, which is fine. The tactics are just going to change a little bit. For example, you have to keep in mind that you're going to be facing most likely a right-handed fighter, which means you might have to attack the eye here, reach across the body to check the shoulder, then flank over here to get away from their knife and pressure attack from this angle, where you'd be striking still the targets on the front of the opponent, rather than flanking over here with the knife in your right hand and pressing the attack here like we have been training. It's your choice. Do what's comfortable for you. I'm not into the idea of making clones of myself who fight exactly the way I do. You need to gravitate your training towards your physique, your local community, how people fight where you are. Because endemics do change significantly depending on the part of the world you're in. For example, a lot of you have probably seen, there was a video that's been circulating out of the UK where a young man lunged from the outside and stabbed a guy in the heart, and he went down very quickly. I was talking to Haroon, our regional director in the UK, and he was telling me this is actually how certain younger criminal elements in parts of the UK have been gravitating towards using knives. They start from a distance. If they want to kill, they lunge in and stab the heart. If they just want to wound, they'll stab the abdomen. And so he's been adapting the way he teaches to deal with that reality that's presenting itself in the UK. In the US, people generally, at least right now, don't use tactics like this on a large scale. Attacks tend to happen close range. They cup the back of the head, stab, grab onto the shirt and stab, but the attacks are coming from the outside here. So depending on where you are, people are going to use knives differently just based on the culture. And you're going to have to adapt the way you train, depending on where you are, to the realities of that situation. If you're in Chicago, for example, where a good part of the year people are wearing heavy, thick winter coats, you need to be prepared to deal with that, which means you're not going to be able to target the body easily. There's going to be layers of clothing. Any kind of slash towards the body likely isn't going to reach skin. You're going to be attacking the face and the eyes primarily with your training. And when I teach seminars in Chicago, this is really what we gravitate towards. Stabbing through heavy clothing or working the face and the eyes. If you look at parts of the more rural parts of Mexico, once you get further south of the border down into Central America, you'll actually see them fighting in a point-down grip, which you don't see up here in the U.S. They'll wrap a jacket around their arm and sort of step down and use the jacket wrapped around their arm and stab this way. I've never seen that scenario play out in the U.S. So people who are training down there need to be prepared. That's how knife violence unfolds. So a lot of what we cover here is going to have to be adapted to where you are. And with my chapter heads, I encourage them to take their local endemics, study them, study the criminal use of knives there, how these situations unfold, the environment they unfold in. Is it during the day? Is it low light conditions? Is it confined space out in the open? Multiple attackers? Are people attacking with knives or pipes and sticks, because there's a big difference, or machetes? And that just ties into the right versus left hand thing. A lot of this is going to depend on what you're facing in your area, how you move, your build, and the way you're choosing to fight. So now, I want to take you through a basic drill. This is a drill I sometimes teach new students, not always. And if you've trained with me before, you've probably heard me say this. I am not a big proponent of drill-based training, especially flow drills or pattern drills, two-man sets. I think they have a place, but it needs to be very limited. Just taking, for example, Huba drills for Filipino martial arts. That drill can be used to train a mechanic and get you used to doing a complex motion. I think the mistake a lot of people make is they build a curriculum based around those kind of drills, and you become very proficient at drilling, but not necessarily proficient at fighting. And there are some people who teach using these drills who do produce very skilled fighters. But largely, and this is just my experience based on the decades I've been teaching. I started teaching when I was 15. I'm 43 now. And I've worked with a lot of instructors. I've worked with world-class instructors, and I've worked with guys who are just complete and total hacks. And I can say a lot of instructors, not all, but a lot of instructors who do drill-based training curriculums are doing it because it's busy work. They want to put you in a drill, have you do that for 10 minutes, change the drill a little bit, make it a little more complicated, have you do that for 10 minutes, change it up again, do it for 10 more minutes, and they fill an hour and a half class just by doing a few different variations of the same drill. And they can keep you coming back and training month after month, year after year, and you're developing the illusion of proficiency. You're getting very good at doing drills, but not good at application. So when it comes to drills, I really limit the amount of drills I do, and I only use them to introduce an idea or concept, and then I move past them. So we're going to cover one of the drills that I sometimes teach. I don't consider this part of the Libre canon curriculum. It's just a way to get used to coordinating the right and left hands and sort of train your brain to know what the job each hand has. And this ties into the right and left-handed question. Because in Libre, the right and left hands do an equal amount of work. So if you're left-handed, you should be able to put the knife in your right hand and be just as proficient. It's just a matter of training which hand has which role. Steve, my top student here in San Diego, first instructor I ever promoted, most proficient Libre practitioner on the planet, is left-handed, and he fights with a knife in his right hand. You'd never know it. So this drill is used to just train you to know what roles the right and left hand has. I would recommend do this drill for maybe a week. If you're really, really new to this kind of work, maybe 2 weeks. After that, forget it. Fuck this drill. Get rid of it and never think about it again, which I think is how drills need to be utilized. So we're going to start with this, and it's an 8-count drill. And all these are motions you've seen before if you've done these with me leading up to now. So what we're going to do, first 2 beats, eye spike, palm. So that's 1, 2. 1, 2. So we're going to do 2 beats at a time, get some reps in, add in 2 more beats. So let's get 10 of these in. So just keep this slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now we're going to do the 3 and 4 beats. So 3 is going to be the throat plug. Coming into the artery or just behind the artery, pull the elbow back to the ribs, keep the point of the blade oriented towards the opponent. That's your number 3 here. 4 is the shoulder check. So 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. So now let's put those 4 motions together and just keep this slow and relaxed. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 10 reps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, the 5 and 6 beats. 5, we're going to stab the artery, keeping the blade vertical, come across the artery, sever it completely, and then a shove to the chest. So the shove could be used to create distance, hitting the opponent, shoving him back to escape, or if I need to engage a second opponent, I can get a stab in, shove him, move on to the second opponent. So, stab, shove. Stab, shove. So I'm just shoving straight down the sternum. Something to keep in mind, if you have a smaller build, you're probably not going to want to rely on this shove too much. You might just not have the body mass to push a larger male, or larger female for that matter, back and create distance. In that case, you'd really want to power in and use what we call a G-shove, which is a little bit more advanced. We might get to that before the quarantine's over. So 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 10 reps. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know this is a long sequence of movements. If you don't get it in this session, don't worry about it. This will be on my story as soon as we're done here. We'll get it uploaded to YouTube within the next 48 hours. So you can reference this and really have something visual you can study from in case you lose track of this. Okay. So now 7 and 8. 7 are lung puncture. Turn the blade horizontal, go between the ribs, and hit the lungs here. At 7 and 8, we're going to use the elbow, moving in, cupping the head like a boxing cover, driving that into the sternum. This serves the same function as the shove, it's just closer range. If I'm throwing this lung puncture, chances are I'm in tight, so it would be awkward to shove from here, but I can bring this up, hitting the sternum. It's more of a strike than a shove to really knock the opponent back. So lung puncture, elbow to the sternum. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Sorry, that should be 7 and 8. 7, 8. 7, 8. 7, 8. Okay. So now we're going to take this from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Super slow. Let's get a few reps in and get used to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 10, keep it slow, nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So what this drill is doing is it's teaching you the basic targeting that you're going to do with the knife in a point down grip, the eye, the throat plug, brachial, lung. And it's teaching you an equal amount of ways to use the left hand. Using it to strike the opponent's face, using it to strike the shoulder, using it as a sternum check, or using the elbow to push the opponent back. So what you find is that both hands are doing similar, all the attacks on the right side are very similar to each other. It's just a matter of adjusting the angle here. So I'm either coming in here or horizontal. There's only two motions for the knife. Coming in here or angling it. We're going vertical, horizontal, horizontal. With our left hand, everything is linear. It's a strike straight to the forehead or face. It's a preemptive check to the shoulder. It's a shove to the chest, or it's an elbow shot coming in. Those are the basic motions that the system's built on. Now, you're not going to use this drill to fight with. I'm not going to do an 8 strike sequence in a real life situation. This is just to train your right side and your left side what their roles are. So work this for a week, maybe 2, get comfortable with it. Once you get comfortable with it, put it aside, move on from the drill to actual functional direct application, which in my opinion is how drills should be utilized. Don't get hung up on doing this for too long. Okay. So last week, we were working different ranges, starting from the horizon, moving in here, striking, moving in tight here, moving back, starting in close, moving in here, and closing back in. Working at different ranges, switching from going to long range to close range to long range, starting close, moving away, coming in, etc. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to start, instead of thinking about range, thinking about environmental conditions. So in the situation we're going to look at right now, we're going to assume that flanking isn't an option, getting off to the side of the opponent here. What you'll see us do a lot is attacking on the high line, then moving over here to press the attack. Moving out the center line does two things. One, it puts his body, presuming he's right-handed, it puts his body between me and his weapon. The other thing it does is if I strike here and he starts rushing in, which isn't something that a lot of untrained fighters will do on instinct, but trained fighters with boxing or MMA experience, or just a lot of street fighter, people who have a lot of street fighting experience, when they get hit, their instinct is to rush in and clinch. And in that instance, if he's rushing in, especially if I've hit his eye and blinded him, if he's rushing in blind, I can get offline here and then press my attack from the side. But I may be in a situation where I'm in a hallway, there's a wall over here, maybe there's secondary opponents off to the side, and I don't want to move over here and put myself between myself and a possible secondary opponent. So in this instance, we're going to assume that moving off to the side and flanking isn't an option. So first thing we're going to do is just build on the 8 count combination we did. We're going to hit the eye and the forehead, the first 2 beats. And then we're going to take the brachial and shove. So we're skipping the 3 and 4 beats here. We're just doing 1, 2, 3, 4. So I move in here, I hit the eye, I hit the head, expecting him to move back, but he charges in. And either I can't move fast enough to get off to the side, or there's an obstruction here. Or another instance for this could be, I've been aware of my surroundings. I see there's a curb or something behind him that he could possibly trip over. And in that situation, I want to shove him back so he trips over something and loses his footing, giving me an opportunity to remove myself from the situation. So we're going to take that drill. We're going to do the 1 and 2 and the 5 and 6 beats. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, shove. Okay. So let's do 10 slow. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Now 10, full speed. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So now another option we have if the opponent is starting to move straight in. We're going to open with the same thing, hitting the eye and hitting the head. But in this instance, we're going to assume that he's moving forward, where his body alignment has changed, indicating he's ready to charge. So from here, and we don't have the option to move to the side. So from here, we're going to use the throat stab. We're going to elevate the elbow. This turns the blade horizontal, so I can come across an artery, either one, or the windpipe, come across the artery and sever it completely. If I keep the elbow in close here, I'm running along the artery. I want to come across it to sever it. So we're going to go 1, 2, and then pull the elbow up, shoot this straight down the center line, going from my chest straight into his throat. So he's going to be running into the blade as he comes in. So 1, 2, he's starting to move in, hit that shot moving in. So let's do 10 slow. Ready? 1, 2. Make sure you're elevating the elbow to turn the blade horizontal. Come into the throat. 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, my dog wants to be in the video. 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now let's get 10 of those in, full speed. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So again, in this scenario, we're assuming we can't flank. Ideally, I wouldn't want to stay in front of him if he's moving towards me. I'd want to get off that line and press over here. So now we're going to take this 1, 2, 3, hitting here. Now hitting up high, we're going to assume that we've landed a clean shot, really bowed him back and exposed his abdomen here. So we're going to come in below the sternum, stab in to the liver, or any area below the solar plexus. Here, bend the knees, use our body weight, rip down the abdomen. So what you'll notice here is the intestines and the organs here, they sit on top of each other. They sort of wind back and forth here. So if I come straight down here, with one swipe, I can do damage to all of these organs in here. So the motion for this, I'm going to stab in here, but I don't want to just use my arm to rip down. If I use my arm and rip down, my arm's going to swing, and I can bring my knife into my femoral. Also, it's going to require more force to do this. So all I want to do is stab in here, then bend my knees and use my body weight so that my blade stays pointed towards the opponent the whole time and I'm not bringing it into myself. So we're going to isolate that motion now. Let's do 10 slow. Ready? 1, 2. I'm doing that same kind of hook that we do with the face edge. 1, 2. 10, slow, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So now we're going to do 10 of these full speed. Or, I'm sorry, 10 of these half speed. It's been a very long day for me. 10 of these half speed, the full technique. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Medium speed. 1. Sorry, I forgot to throw it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, now, 10 full speed. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Let's call it there for today. Once again, thank you for joining me. Looks like for most of us, lockdown isn't ending anytime soon. So let's count on being here next week, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Whew.